since things got serious, if you will, is the feeling that, well, in Africa, and like you said, it's a continent, okay? It's huge. It's kind of hard to say for the whole continent, but what they were saying is that in Africa, because there was, and specifically malaria, okay, anti-malaria drugs, that there wasn't coronavirus, or that it wasn't a risk, or that there was like a vaccine, or people were here. I mean, what were you hearing actually from the inside of, you were in the continent, right? You're in Africa, country of Nigeria. Have you heard anything about that? Do you know anything about that?
So what I can say is, so again, it's something that most people don't really know the origin of. Like, people don't know what's, even today, people don't know what coronavirus is, right? And that is something that the government is investing on, trying to see how they could make people know through media, or, television or something, or through SMS. Like, I keep getting SMS every day from the government saying, hey, you need to wash your hands and all that stuff.
Oh, interesting.
But at the same time, I believe that countries like the US is kind of also responsible for making people panic a lot. First, the numbers is growing crazy, right? And people are like, if the US can be in this situation right now, then imagine a country with smaller economy, like compared to that of the US, what are we going to do? Like a country like Nigeria, for example. And there was a 5G thing, like the
the 5G conspiracy was huge. It still is.
I don't want to mention names. Somebody said the Chinese virus. There's a lot of things that was going on.
Somebody, we can mention names. This is an open environment. The fucking Trump, we can say
it. Yeah, somebody said the Chinese virus. Somebody said, there's a lot of things. And again, it's and as much as so I'm a person that I don't really. And one thing I've learned, in travel, because I not just travel to that of the US and all that, I go to different parts and I get to understand different cultures and how people react. And I think that kind of makes me much better human in a way that
couldn't agree more.
There's some certain things that I deem racist, and there's some certain things that I don't deem racist. Sometimes I'm not just qualified for some things. Doesn't say that the person is trying to be racist. So, for example, I don't know Python, and I know I might be good in other stuff. And the person say, hey, I'm sorry, but I can't give you this job. That doesn't give me the right to say you're racist because I'm black, this kind of stuff. People do that a lot, right? And I'm not in that position to start pointing fingers, but I'm in a position where I believe everybody's human and everybody have the opinion in a way that they could add their whatever. So there's a lot of things that is going on. I know for sure that there's a problem between the US and China in terms of who's going to be the biggest, who's going to control 5G. That has been happening a lot of time before coronavirus came in. The issue with Huawei ban, Trump saying, hey, companies in the US can't, work with Chinese companies and all that stuff. And then, and then people somewhere trying to tie in the conspiracy of saying, hey, the 5G, the millimeter wave thing can, do some radioactive stuff. People, just ignorance. You don't really know you don't really know much about the technology. Yes, it might be harmful, but so does your smartphone, so does your microwave, so does your, multiple things, right? So given the fact that some media in the US, or some places in Europe, but again, media in the US started talking about this. And one thing I've noticed is some Africans, I would say majority of Africans consume a lot of international content. And that kind of made a lot of panic. In fact, I think that's one of the reasons I believe Africans, as much as I believe Africans would have prepared more on the virus, it made them relax a little bit. That one, it's not, okay, so the black community in the US say, hey, it's a virus that attacked the white people. That was what the black people say. And it was public. And then people in Africa was like, it's not a black disease. It's not a disease that can affect the black man because the black man have much stronger immune system, which is, I don't know where that choice is coming from. Stronger immune system, so the virus can. And Africa is hotter, sun and all that stuff. And there was some kind of a theory that the coronavirus can survive in the surface with a heated temperature in a particular duration. So given the fact that it can easily just get close to 27 to 30 degrees, or Celsius of heat in some part of Africa, even worse in some part of Africa. That kind of made it much easier for them to say, hey, we are much better positioned than that of China, in US or Europe, which much colder climate and all that, right? So I think that kind of made it, that's one of the reasons why all these things happened. And I believe that's one of the reasons why this number keeps growing, because of the ignorance of the people. Again, based on what they hear and see online.
Yeah, it's man, Samson, you just brought up so many interesting things that we could dig into. But what you said at the very end is absolutely true. It comes down to the ignorance of the people. Are you choosing to just listen to what the news tells you? Which that is crazy. I never heard in the US that white people are getting it more than black people. In fact, it's actually quite the opposite. Not because of anything to do with skin color. It has to do with economics in the US and our systems of oppression and what has happened. So then to hear that somehow translated all the way to like where you are is crazy.
Exactly. Yeah.
You're right. It just comes down to, do you choose to listen to the bullshit, or do you educate yourself on the actual facts and what's going on?
Very true. Because I was paying, so I watched Trevor Noah's show. He's a funny guy. Not because of his primary targets. I'm not I'm not a huge fan of trying to call people out anyways, but I just love the way he say things in a very professional way and trying to make it educative as possible. Trevor Noah.
Trevor Hall. Yeah.
No, Trevor Noah from the Daily Show.
Trevor Noah. Yes.
Yeah,
I know what you're talking about.
So
yes.
So when he made a statement, he says that the black people in the US were saying, hey, it's a white people's disease. And then I think 2 weeks later, he was like, hey, it's quite the opposite. But then he was showing some videos which was a bit funny. I think that video even moved from the US down to Africa, because I saw it somewhere on Twitter. So I think I think somewhere within Florida. I'm sure it's somewhere within Florida. So there were some bunch of people around the seaside, beach, and there were some interviews of telling people, hey, why are you not doing social distancing? Or why are you not home? Right? And somebody was like, yes, the spring break. Somebody was like, hey, I don't care about coronavirus. Life is once. I have to live my life. Coronavirus or no coronavirus, I have to come out and party. Right? It's none of my business. Like, statement like that was like, whoa. And then seeing those statements coming, given the fact that how the media is, or how I'm just trying to look for the word right now, but given the way how the media has placed all these things, it makes it much easier for people to believe. And then the 5G thing happened, and then there's some heated war between the Chinese government and the US, and then Africa was just in the middle, trying to look for who to blame, right? And then they were like, support. I can speak from Nigeria anyways. There was some support from the Chinese government. I don't want to say support, because it's the same country that failed to help out Africans in China, because there were some videos, evidence of people harassing Africans in China. And one of the diplomats from Nigeria had a heated conversation with one of the officials in China. And then the embassy, the ambassador for the China to Nigeria was summoned by the government, and they were trying to see the reason why people in China was doing this kind of stuff. But then there was some heated conversations of Africans threatening China threatening Africans. It was just some bunch of stuff going on that I saw, at least on Twitter, something I saw on Twitter. It's not something I've seen in person, because I haven't I've been indoors for 4 weeks, and I live in a much I don't live in China. I don't live in in South Africa, so I can't speak for South Africans. But it's something I've been seeing on Twitter. People raging. It's not even about safety now. It's just who to blame and just bunch of rage. That's how I see what's going on right now. Yeah.
Yeah, because people are, like you said, you've been indoors for 4 weeks. In China, they've been indoors for 4 months.